people to be able to afford to live in New York City. That's what keeps it a vibrant city. That's what makes people want to live
Nobody
here.
disagrees with that, Senator, but raising taxes in order to do it? Why is that the answer?
Oh, dear. Are you worried that billionaires are going to go hungry?
No, I'm worried that they're going to leave and spend their money elsewhere.
You know, they've threatened to do that over and over and over.
And they have. They've left.
Let's not have the facts get in the way of a good Pocahontas fake narrative. I think she'll have her a beer. Democrats, it's a kind of dementia, isn't it? Well, I just mentioned what the Democrats are doing in New York. It's a little bit funny. The Gothamist is on the job. New York opens first in nation homeless shelter for transgender people. That's their plan. New York City has officially opened its first shelter for transgender and gender non-conforming people who are homeless. I've got to think that's not a huge population. Is that a big population? Here are the transgender people, and here are the transgender people that are homeless. Here are the homeless people. Here are the homeless people that are transgender. Life ain't easy for a boy named Sue. New York City has officially opened, they say. Officials say it is the only city-funded shelter of its kind in the country. See how they use these hedge words here? The only city-funded. Well, there's a county-funded one, and there's a state-funded one, and, of course, there's a federally funded. But city officials say they're very proud. The only city-funded shelter of its kind in the country, and it will help 150 transgender New Yorkers. I assume that they're drug-addicted street prostitutes who find themselves homeless and transgender because they're drug-addicted street prostitutes. And Democrat Party voters, and the van comes by and picks them up and brings them to the polling places on Election Day. That's why they have same-day voter registration, because so many Democrats are now drug-addicted, transgender, homeless people. That's how they tip the scales on Election Day. So it's the only city-funded shelter of its kind in the country. It will help 150 transgender New Yorkers. How do you know they're all New Yorkers? As the Trump administration, here we go. Now it's the attack on the Trump administration. As the Trump administration has rolled back rights. No, they haven't. For the trans community. No, it hasn't. Barring access to medical care. No, it hasn't. You know what they're talking about there? Child genital mutilation without the approval of the parents at taxpayer expense. That's what they're actually referring to there. The Democrat Party is a mental illness. Amazing. Military service. Well, the tranny brigade. Hey, one singular sensation. High kick, high kick. They want to put on a musical. They think that the military is a plaything, and that's what they use it for. Except Barack Obama did attack more countries than any president since World War II. And federal documents. These are their claims. President Trump has barred access to medical care. Not true. Military service. About time. And federal documents. I doubt that's true. That reflect their gender identity. I mean, their made-up mental delusions. They want to document that at taxpayer expense. Now, listen to this. The city is fully funding the facility in Long Island City, which will cost $65 million to operate through 2030. Now, if I'm not mistaken, right now it's 2025, right? 2025. So through 2030, that'd be 5 years. 5 years, right? And the end of the year, so it's really 4.5 years if they just open it now. $65 million taxpayer dollars to fund a transgender homeless shelter for 4.5 years. Am I doing the math correctly there? Because that'd be through 26, 27, 28, 29, and 30. That's 5 years. That's 5 years. So 5 years. So whatever 65 million divided by 5 is, that's what the Democrats are doing. And when I saw this Long Island City, I was reminded that my grandfather Jules Ortega ran his business, a wine and spirits importing business in Long Island City, New York. And the building is still there, had his name on the side of the building and everything. Jules Ortega Imports, Long Island City. It's not what it used to be. But that's $65 million. That's what they got for 5 years for they claim first in the nation. Isn't that great? Now, in Washington, D.C., it should be pointed out, not to be left out of the discussion, Mayor Bowser, Wowzer, Mayor Bowser to cut ribbon on district's first LGBTQ plus shelter for adults. Got to have a separate one for LGBTQ children, I think. Is that the thing there? Isn't that amazing? And that happened in 2022. So that's 3 years ago. Now, it's not specifically trans only. I wonder if in New York they got another $65 million project for people that are just gay, and maybe a separate one for a lesbian, because you don't want to have cohabitating and all that stuff. But that's amazing. Thursday, July 14th of 2022, Democrat Washington, D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser and the Department of Human Services cut the ribbon on the new shelter focused on providing housing and services, right, to district residents who are experiencing homelessness and identify as LGBTQ plus. I don't think New York can claim that they're the first in the nation. I don't think they can. The building previously served as a family shelter, but as the district continues to drive down family homelessness, how do they do that? And with new family shelters open citywide. Are we in the middle of World War II or something? What's going on with these people? We're in a desperate condition for the most prosperous country in the history of the world. But Democrats, they're like, they're legalizing heroin and prostitution. They call hookers sex workers now because they want to tax them, I think, is the primary thing. Am I right about that? Yes, I am. So I don't think it's even the first in the nation. Yeah, but this amazing thing I was reading, I was just looking on the internet. Have you gone to the internet? It's pretty interesting. And I found my grandfather's obituary. And in the obituary, it actually had a photograph of his business in Long Island City with his name on the side of the building. And it gave the address, amazingly. And I went there on Google Earth, and the building is still there. The old building is still there. Kind of an interesting thing. And I thought, is that where they're putting the transgender, mentally ill, drug-addicted, street prostitute shelter? Because that, be a good use of the old building, I guess. That's amazing stuff. All right, now let's get, speaking of New York City, the Democrats elected a communist jihadi to be the Democrat Party's nominee for mayor of our most populous city, New York City. Maybe the most important city in the country, maybe the most important city in the world. Funny word, important. But they've elected, the Democrats have, they all voted for Zohran Mamdani. He was just in Uganda marrying somebody I think maybe in the Idi Amin suite where all the meat is raw. Isn't that amazing? But Zohran Mamdani, he's out there talking, and the Democrats just love him.
I'm thankful for the reduction in crime across our city and also to see it as part of nationwide trends where we're seeing much of the same, and the knowledge that we still have more work to do. It's important to celebrate that which has been done, that which has been achieved, and also know that we continue to strive for a city that is free from the kinds of mass shootings that we saw last week, that is free from the violence that still afflicts far too many New Yorkers.
You guys should stop shooting everybody. You should stop shooting CEOs in the back on the sidewalk when they're walking along, sweet as you please, and amazing. Now, the reality is that crime is down nationwide under President Trump in 1 year. It's pretty amazing. 2024 crime came down in every category, according to the FBI. Got to keep your eye on the FBI there. But crime is down. Murders are down nationwide in 2025. Even National Panhandler Radio had to say it. The number of homicides is falling dramatically nationwide. In 2024, murders fell by at least 14% across the United States. That was election year, of course. And also in 2025, you see, the early analysis from the Data Linux suggests that the drop will be even bigger in 2025. Well, we started throwing illegal alien gang members out of the country. I wonder if that might have some impact on murder in the United States. In Detroit, city officials say the number of homicides is at the lowest since 1965. They always lie about these things, though. In Chicago, so far this year, they're having the lowest homicide rate, keeping my fingers crossed, lowest homicide rate in 10 years since 2015. And, there's a new sheriff in town. He's in Washington, D.C. That's the town. But isn't it amazing? And it's good that Detroit is having a low. I think homicides are down in Baltimore. I'm not sure about Washington, D.C. They say that crime is down in Washington, D.C. this year, but they lie a lot, too. It's like the jobs numbers, and then they, come out with new numbers a month from now. We forgot about all these murders over here. City officials around the country point to policing as a key component. Wait a minute, policing, but you guys want to defund the police. You guys are anti-police. But National Panhandler Radio, city officials around the country point to policing as a key component as to why crime falls. Sure, highlighting how many officers a city has. Wait, more police, fewer murders? More police, fewer crimes? This is the opposite of what the Democrats have been peddling ever since Michael Brown didn't say, hands up, don't shoot. And the Democrats fabricated that lie and spread it like wildfire across the country, pounded it into everybody's heads. But isn't that amazing? They're really something. So that's Zohran Mamdani. Hey, crime is down. And then Zohran on Sunday is, the illegal aliens, they're still pro-illegal aliens. They're pro-crime. Look, here's the reality. More Democrats, more murders. I mean, more Democrat politicians passing Democrat laws, more murders. And then almost all the murders are committed by Democrats. That's just true. Look at where the murders are. Look at who's perpetrating the murders. And it's almost all Democrats. If you just had the conservative homicides, Republican voting homicides in the United States, we'd be Sweden, statistically speaking. Most of us still wouldn't have blonde hair. Zohran Mamdani on Sunday.
This is a dark moment to be a stranger in our city, to be a stranger in our country.
You mean an illegal alien?
An authoritarian government in Washington, D.C.
The authoritarian.
Is dispatching masked agents
they want
to
shooting.
abduct immigrants from our streets.
To protect their lives
that
from the criminals.
Justice.
That's not justice.
It is cruelty.
Cruelty.
And it is criminal.
And it's criminal. Now he's going to jail the federal police officers because they've committed crimes. It's criminal. He'd be the highest-ranking public official in New York City. So he could start imprisoning law enforcement and letting more criminals out on the street. And then he'd maybe learn, and maybe not, and other idiot Democrats would maybe learn and maybe not, that the more criminals you put on the street, the more crime you're going to have. The fewer police you have on the street, National Panhandler Radio just said it. More police, fewer crimes. More police, crime goes down. More police, fewer people are murdered. Fewer police, more people are murdered. So the blood is on the Democrat Party's hands all over the place. Now, President Trump, this came up, and this is yesterday. President Trump was asked about Mamdani, the communist, jihadi, anti-American, anti-capitalist lunatic, loves Uganda, hates America. Democrats vote for him. The propaganda machine has brainwashed and indoctrinated a great many people across our country. And Elizabeth Warren, we started out with Elizabeth Warren in there. And here's President Trump.
I watched this lunatic, Pocahontas. She's a total lunatic. I don't know what she's on. She's all jumping up and down like I've never seen anything like it, talking about supporting the communist mayor. And he's not a socialist. He's a communist, okay? This is not a socialist man. This is a communist. If you look at any of his policies and go back 6 months, you don't even have to go back further than that. So they want to put a communist in New York. Now, the good news is we have a lot of power over that because we're the ones with the money. We send the money. We don't send the money.
I like that he's calling him a communist. And, look, they call everybody Hitler and fascists and Nazis. And they are filthy, rotten, stinking communists. And they're the ones shooting everybody. And they're all transgender homeless people. And they're mentally ill. And it's the first in the nation. except for the one in Washington, D.C., and there's probably one in L.A., and there's probably one in Chicago. Everything they say is a lie. Aren't they amazing? And I love President Trump coming out and punching him in the face, rhetorically, of course. They're effectively and essentially commies. The big wireless has been pulling one over on all of us, and it's time to switch to consumer cellular. I made the switch. I'm getting the same fast, reliable, nationwide, big wireless coverage, same towers, same communication, same system, without the big wireless costs every month in the bill. It's not just about saving money on my bill every month, although that's good. It's about not being used and abused by the big, awful cellular telephone carriers. Do you even know how much data you use every month? Probably not. Most people don't. Most people over 50 use less than 8 gigs of data every month. But if you're 20, you probably use 80 gigs every month. So the big wireless companies, they put you in one of these big plans, and they redistribute your wealth to pay for the data being used by 18-year-olds. If you're not the one using the data, then you're the one being used. I had enough of that stuff. Go ahead with Consumer Cellular. They set me up with a service and an amazing phone, and it's easy to switch. You speak to an actual human being on the phone, not a robot, not a push-button thing, no push 5 for this. And they're based right here in the United States, the person that you're talking to. So, incredibly helpful people. It'll be refreshing. And it only takes about 20 minutes to make the switch. Saves you a lot of hassle and a lot of money. Give them a call today and make the switch. 1-800-760-0702. 1-800-760-0702. Yeah. Yeah, Trump is so great. They're communists. They're, I'm sorry. Just start calling him Hitler on everything, and then the media will be confused. They won't know what to do. You can't call him communist. All right, Hitler. Chris here with a list of things that none of us should trust. The Washington Post, the New York Times, anything on CNN. Here's a list of things that I do trust. The Washington Times. Support real journalism for just $1 a week at washingtontimes.com/Chris. I don't have enough time here to do justice to one of our great American callers. I'll do that now, but we will though. We've got Kristi Noem. Come on, have you seen, they've got, the alligator Alcatraz in Florida. Well, they've got a new one that they're standing up. It's not a transgender homeless shelter, but at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, where the Indianapolis 500 is held. And they're going to open it up for criminal illegal aliens detained by ICE, who the Democrats want to let loose in your daughter's junior high school. But the Trump administration standing up another mega prison at the Indianapolis Speedway. That's kind of fun, I think. Fun is. And Judge Jeanine Pirro, that's coming up. I'm going to get to Kristi Noem, and we've got more President Trump coming up on the violent criminal mob attacking a young man who worked on Doge with Elon Musk, being beaten into a bloody mess on the streets of Washington, D.C. Have that coming up. But right now, let's go to Holy Smoke. Oh, I must be the luckiest man alive. We have Mike the Lib on the line. Let's go to Mike the Lib, who is calling from Gainesville, Virginia, allegedly. Mike the Lib, you're on the Chris Plante Show.
Hey, Chris. Yes, I'm calling from Gainesville, Virginia. And Gainesville, Virginia is going to have a special election for our supervisor. Our Republican supervisor passed away of colon cancer on July 20th. So our special election is going to be on the same time as the regular election. But this Sunday, we're going to select our Democratic candidate for that supervisor position at Battlefield High School in Haymarket, and also at Pat White Center in Manassas between 10
That's
and 7
fascinating.
p.m.
I'm very happy to hear that. This is a national radio show.
I'm letting everybody know because data centers
It's a national radio show. That's we're on.
Okay. Data centers are the most important issue.
Every country on the planet. We're heard on other planets. And that's a very sad story. Since you brought it up, it's Mike the Lib. Since you brought it up, there is also a special election in Virginia in the 11th district because the Democrat Jerry Connolly died also. And there is a great American Republican, Stuart Whitson, who is running to replace Jerry Connolly. And, he's not a bartender like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, but he's a great American Army colonel who launched more than 300 missions in Iraq, and then a special agent for the FBI. He's a father of 5. He's an usher at his Catholic church on Sunday. He coaches his kids' sports teams, and he is Stuart Whitson, and now that's for the U.S. Congress, and it would be a Democrat seat going to a Republican seat, so we can save the world.
Hopefully it will never happen. Hopefully it will never happen because the man will not be able to think, will not be able to act. He'll only be able to do whatever Donald Trump tells him to do.
Tell me. Stop. Hang on. Stop. Take your pills. I'm gonna have to hit you with a tranquilizer, Doc. Tell me the name. Tell me. Don't listen. They're all mentally ill.
Total waste of the seat,
I'm about to hang up on you because you can't have a conversation. Now, you just insulted a man who's an Army colonel, 300 missions.
I don't care because
you don't care.
I honor his 300 missions.
Now stop talking. Stop. I'm going to hit you with a tranquilizer dart. There's a guy behind the curtain. There's a blow dart coming for your neck. Hang on. What's the name of the man you just insulted?
I don't care about. I honor his service, Chris.
You're a leftist. I got to tell you. Now you spent a career in the government as you're Hitler. I got to tell you, you're a fascist. You're a Nazi.
He's going to work.
What you have no idea. Your head is wedged so far up into your rectum. All right, Michael, you're not even funny this time.
Able to think. None of them are able to.
All right, yeah, I got to tell you. He's a special agent for the FBI for 10 years, ran 300 missions in Iraq, rescuing hostages, hunting ISIS terrorists, launching their attacks in the United States. And every filthy, ignorant Democrat, which you're representing here very capably, I've got to say, you just lash out an attack like insane people. You don't even realize that you're an insane person and that whenever you sound like this, you're just, I don't know why anybody would call themselves a Democrat at this point. Like any Democrat has thought of anything. Every one of you goose-stepping fascists vote exactly the same way every single time. Stop shooting people in Washington, D.C. Stop committing crimes. Stop being on the side of ISIS. Stop being on the side of Hamas. Yeah, you're on the side of Hamas. All right, that's Mike the Lib. Now let's move on to more precious things. Doesn't even know his name, just lashes out like a child with a brain disease. There are treatments for those things, thanks to the patriarchy and to Big Pharma. And I'm thankful today, I think I mentioned earlier, I'm thankful to Big Pharma, and I'm thankful to the patriarchy. And I'm telling everyone, because I learned that my best girl and I, got strep throat. We were out on the sea cruise and airplanes and stuff. We came home a couple days later, my best girl, God, my throat is dead. And a couple days go by, go to the doctor, strep throat. And they're like, man, good thing I didn't get it. And then, boom, I got it, right? Because I always ignore that stuff. So, I kiss her like that, like a normal person. And we're still waiting to hear from Mike the Lib's ex-wife, aren't we? Because he told us he's got an ex-wife. We want the ex-wife to call in. Hey, Mrs. Mike the Lib, former, 888-630-9625. Call in anytime. And but yeah, then I got. It turns out that I got the strep throat too, and I've been using the cough button here the last couple of days. And yesterday I got, thanks to Big Pharma, which the Democrats hate and want to burn with Molotov cocktails, and to the patriarchy, provide you electricity and air travel and instantaneous communications all over the world, and antibiotics. So I'm taking these 400 milligram antibiotics. I feel better now than I did when I started the radio show. You know why? Big Pharma. That's why, because of Big Pharma, which the Democrats are at war with. That's Mike the Lib. And I'm sorry. And the special election for the House seat, the 11th District in Virginia, vacated by the now deceased Jerry Conley, a Democrat, will be filled if America is to be saved by Stuart Whitson, also known as Colonel Whitson in the United States Army, running 300 missions plus in Iraq. Hey, you need your hostage rescued? Who do you call? You call Stuart Whitson, Colonel Whitson, and Major Whitson, and Lieutenant Colonel Whitson, and then Special Agent Whitson. He went back to Iraq as an FBI special agent, take on ISIS, then to Jordan, which is a country over there for Democrats that they don't know anything. From the river to the sea, they just chant it because they don't know anything. They're incapable of learning. They're incapable of thinking. We call them Democrats. It's a sad, sad situation. All right, now let's, Mike the Lib, come on, do better. Do better, honestly. You people. Just ridiculous. All right, let's grab another phone call because that was too much of a bummer, just crazy Democrat. And then I asked Democrats to call in, and that's what you get. And they just lash out like demented, mentally impaired children on a variety of hallucinogenic drugs. Not the good ones, the other ones. All right, let's talk to Jim calling from the great state of Wisconsin. Jim, you're on the Chris Plant Show.
Good morning, Chris. Great show. I met you a couple of years ago at Chevy Chase Country Club in Wheeling when you did a conservative show there.
Excellent.
Great program. Great.
I remember it well. Thank you very much.
It was a great program. I was talking to a buddy of mine who was in the service with me. We were talking about a new unit that's being formed for the transgenders. It's a big pink T, and its logo is Death from Behind. Just thought you'd like to know that. So it's going to be formed fairly soon, and you'll see it in the military organizational charts fairly soon.
Updating the old Vietnam War 101st Airborne slogan of Death from Above. But now,
Absolutely.
you get the, and everybody knows Death from Above. It's a wonderful thing, air assault and Death from Above. Charlie, don't surf, all that good stuff. And it's, the transgender unit that the Democrats are pulling together, and their slogan and their patch will be Death from Behind.
Death from Behind.
Death from Behind. See, that's, now you guys, you served the military, you said. So you guys came up with this some time ago, didn't you?
Yes, we did, sir. Yes, we did, sir.
Yes,
we were ex-Marines who had nothing else to do.
Well, you have a beer.
Vietnam War in 1968.
I'm sorry, say that again?
Vietnam War in 1968. First of the 26 Marines. We're at Quezon, way up north. Yeah, there's a handful of us left. I'm 78 years old now.
Wow.
Still functioning.
You don't sound it. I got to say, am I right? He doesn't sound it. You don't sound close to that. That's great stuff. Marines, Quezon was it, man. That's it doesn't get any crazier than that, right?
Yeah, 77 days sitting in a valley, wondering what the hell we're doing there. We took 1,200 rockets one day. I was actually about 1 kilometer outside the base on Hill 950, which was a radio relay station, and they tried to overrun us just about 3-4 times a day. Give you a quick story. You might get a kick out of this. We used to get C rations. They're different than the MREs. Uh-huh. And there was a thing called lima bean surprise. And it was in a can. You opened it up, and you put a spoon in it. It just popped out. You didn't eat it. Well, we threw that stuff down the side of the hill. After the siege was lifted, we did some patrols into the jungles and the areas around the hills, and we found at the base of the hills dozens of cans of this lima bean surprise, and even the bugs didn't eat them. That's a true story. They're probably still sitting there in the sun.
Even the bugs said, yeah, sea rats, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, mine was. We were eating stuff that was made in 1950.
Wow! I gotta tell you, 1968, isn't that amazing? LBJ, not getting the job done, right?
No, well, he packed it in too that year. I mean, we were overseas, and you saw the riots. You saw the riots in Chicago with the death of Dr. King.
Yep.
So that was a bad time. He lose his life, he got assassinated. And we're sitting there wondering, it's probably safer here. Yeah,
right. Yeah, in the Chicago convention, I was a kid in Chicago at the time. My My stepfather, dad, was in and out of Vietnam as a CBS News reporter 4 times, and he was at the Democratic Convention in Chicago. We lived there. My mother was pregnant with my little brother at the time, chased out of the downtown area by the riots, and chasing her down. Hey, get the pregnant lady, and all that stuff. Yeah, those were the days, huh? And it's all Democrats. The riots caused by Democrats, Chicago, at the Democratic Convention. They still blame the police for that because they're insane. Martin Luther King was, of course, shot and killed by a Democrat presidential campaign volunteer. The Democrats, I got to tell you, he was a volunteer for Governor George Wallace, who was running for president. He was a racist, segregationist Democrat governor from Alabama. And you remember all that stuff, though. Well, that's good stuff, Jim.
Absolutely.
Good stuff. Yeah, those were crazy days. The Democrats are looking to bring it back, aren't they?
Yeah, they want to return to 1861.
Yeah,
that's what they want to do.
Yeah,
but they haven't got the stones. We got all. I don't see one of them that's even a man anymore. The closest thing to a man in the Democratic Party is probably Elizabeth Warren.
Yeah, she's got a lot of beep. That is it's. Yeah, the party has really gone mad, and culturally we're in a very bad place because of the Democrat Party with their gender dysphoria and everything else. And, President Trump is starting the school fitness thing for kids again, right? And the Democrats are very angry about this. Like, what do you mean we have to run around a track? What do you mean we have to do a pull-up or a push-up? We can't do that. They're gonna fight to the death to prevent that from happening. And we've got, kids are so fat and lazy now that they can't even join the military. If they wanted to join the military can't accept them because, Jim, the kids are so unhealthy and not fit.
Yeah, well, we had that in '68. Kids came into the service and they weren't fit. The Marine Corps got them fit. They went to what was called the Fat Farm. About 20 days later, they came back to the training platoon and they were slim and mean. I mean, they didn't throw them out. I did discharge a couple because I was a junior officer. I ended up being a captain. When I was at the Camp Lejeune, we had a couple of young kids in my outfit, and they were overtly homosexuals. And in those days, that was bad paper discharge. They got what was called an undesirable discharge. It was also called, or the bad BCD, the big chicken big chicken discharge, big chicken dinner, I should say. They got a chit for a one-way bus trip to anywhere in the 48 continental United States, and a chit for a dinner at the Kentucky Fried Chicken stand right outside the gates of Camp Lejeune. So it's a big chicken dinner. But I talked to these kids. They were 19 years old, and I said, why did you join the Corps? You knew you were going to get this happen. This is going to stay with you for the rest of their lives. And that was 1969. I wonder whatever happened to these two kids. What happened to their lives, because that's bad paper. Can't vote, can't own a gun, can't get a government job, can't get certified, as a teacher or any of those things. So,
well, and those two men today are Democrat members of the House of Representatives.
Well, they might not. Yeah, they might be men, they might be women. We're not sure. I'm not sure which ones they could be, but you're right. They're probably in the House.
Yeah, probably elected Democrats at this point. And what was the life expectancy of a second lieutenant Marine officer on the battlefield in Vietnam?
A few minutes, if you were lucky.
Yeah, that's right.
I was right out of college, Chris, and I was getting drafted, and I didn't want to go in the Army, so I joined the Marine Corps. My dad was a career Army officer, and I ended up. I was supposed to go to Quantico, Virginia, at first, to the platoon leaders course, but they didn't have a billet open, so they sent me to Paris Island. I did 5 weeks at Paris Island. And then I got my mind right. So when I got overseas, there was a gunnery sergeant. There was a gunnery sergeant that served at Iwo Jima and at the Chosin Reservoir in Korea, and he pretty much ran my platoon. I mean, I just kept my mouth shut and listened up.
Wow.
He said to me, "Sir, if you want to get out of here alive, you listen up." I listened up. Listen to
that, Jim. Today. That is great. Where are you in Wisconsin?
Lake Geneva. I live
Cut it out.
Of Lake Geneva.
Come on, no kidding.
Geneva National. It's a real nice area.
I know. I went there a couple of times when I was a kid. I still dream of Lake Geneva. I still look at real estate there on the internet from time to time. If only I. Great stuff. Hey, Jim, that is wonderful stuff, and congratulations on living Lake Geneva, a wonderful place. and a great place. You know, the people when I was a kid on the North Shore of Chicago, the rich families had places in Lake Geneva. Real nice, you know, water skiing and all kinds of great stuff and great taverns to go to. Wonderful. And, Jim, you just provided us, I mean, we're going back to World War II. That's generations of American history and metal right there from Jim, Lake Geneva, Wisconsin. God bless you, Jim. I'm saluting you. Thanks for the call, buddy. That was fun. Jim, Lake Geneva, Wisconsin. Lake Geneva is incredibly nice. If you went there, you'd say, I want to live here. And then January would come around and you'd say, I want to live in Florida. Because, you know, it's Wisconsin. It's cold there. I'm getting texts and pings about Jim calling in from Lake Geneva, Wisconsin. Great history, great stuff. Jim should have a show of his own, don't you think? So much to talk to him about. I knew a reporter that was at Quezon, in and out of Quezon, and all kinds of stories to tell about that. But that's not important now. And the sea rats. Here's a fun story. About 100,000 Californians are moving to Texas every year. That's really bad news for Texas. 100,000, greater than the population of Santa Barbara, where I lived for 7 years. Amazing stuff. Okay, let's get to, because the Trump administration is opening a new mega prison at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, where the Indy 500 is held. And here is Kristi Noem on that topic.
When individuals, these criminal illegal aliens, the worst of the worst, are detained by ICE, they will be processed and go through due process and paperwork and then return to their countries. Obviously, we want them, if they've committed criminal acts or been convicted of them, we want them to pay the consequences of that. But then we will send them home. They don't belong in this country. They never should have been allowed in under the Biden administration. And so that's why Indiana has come online with the Speedway Slammer. We also have others we'll announce in the future. Alligator Alcatraz was the first model, and the big, beautiful bill provided us the resources that we need to get these beds online so we can continue to do our work.
The Democrat Party is against incarcerating people for breaking laws in the United States. They're for open borders. They're one-worlders. They're the Davos people, mostly without the private jets. Aren't they amazing? Right now, Fort Stewart, Georgia is on lockdown. Allegedly an active shooter on the loose, as they say. And the Democrats are still busy. They're peddling away. So as soon as I knock off here, they're going to start providing me with much more crazy stuff for tomorrow. So I'll come back and share their antics with you once again tomorrow.